Talks about NVIDIA and its performance this year. DraftKings has doubled that performance. And you understand why. You have this massive secular wave behind it. So the negative impact is that it's all young men. And I parallel that with, or dovetail that with Pew Research, which says that 63% of young men are single. And that's the highest it's ever been. And 50% of those young men have no interest in dating, not even casually. And 30% of those men, or 30% of young men, say they have not had sex in over a year and don't seem to care. So the point being,
they're getting pleasure out of sports betting instead.
Sports betting now through technology is as easy as buying something, ordering a pizza online, or shopping online. And what you see is young men who've grown up with gaming are used to doing everything on their phone, and now they can do all sorts of betting on their phone. You can do real-time parlays on a phone during a game.
So let me get this straight. Men are refusing to date modern women. They're refusing to marry modern women. Hell, a lot of guys have not had intimacy in the last period, and they don't even care about it. And apparently this is to do with sports betting. I swear to you guys, modern women will do absolutely anything other than take accountability for the fact that maybe men don't want to deal with them for a legitimate reason. But no, we have to blame it on sports betting, guys. We have to blame it on all of these different factors. Men aren't real men anymore. Men are just lazy. And men have so many options on dating applications. They are so out of touch with reality. It is absolutely crazy. So on today's episode, guys, we're going to be kicking it off with a clip right here that was sent to me. And this is so stupid, man. You have this news host, I guess, and she's trying to tie the idea that sports betting is causing young men not to date anymore. Now, let me just say this, guys. This has nothing to do with why men don't date modern women anymore. You know, you can make the argument that, hey, any hobby is better than dating modern women. But oftentimes men don't want to date modern women, and the answer is really simple: why? The phrase goes something like this, guys. The juice is not worth the squeeze. The amount of effort that men have to put in order to, you know, make a modern woman happy or get the attention of a modern woman is not even worth it for the quality of woman that you get. So let's jump into this clip here, and then we have a few other ridiculous ones that we're going to be covering. And notice the guy in the middle, by the way. He's just like, he's probably sitting there thinking to himself, what in the hell am I listening to? Let's continue.
About NVIDIA and its performance this year. DraftKings has doubled that performance. And you understand why. You have this massive secular wave behind it. So the negative impact is that it's all young men. And I parallel that with, or dovetail that with Pew Research.
Right, so she's making this correlation, by the way. Who is hiring these news anchors? I don't watch this show. I don't know if she's typically featured here, if she's a main host. But who is hiring these people? I swear they just throw anyone on who can yap about nonsense, and they're like, you know what? She'll do. So this woman, in her own words, is dovetailing the fact that these sports betting places are booming in terms of revenue. And she's trying to tie this to the reason why young men are single. That is a crazy leap for me for someone to make, guys. Dudes are single because it's simply not worth the effort dating modern women. You can slice it whichever way you want. You can bring up sports betting. You can try and shame dudes and insult them and call them lazy, as we've seen on other videos. But at the end of the day, it kind of doesn't work at a certain point, you know? And I will say this, right? A lot of these gambling things are certainly becoming more popular. But this has very little to do with why men are refusing to date you. And they're just so out of touch.
Which says that 63% of young men are single. And that's the highest it's ever been. And 50% of those young men have no interest in dating, not even casually.
So let's talk about this for a second. This is very incredibly funny to me, okay? Because this woman is like, well, not only are the dudes not interested in dating, but they won't even hook up with us. They won't even engage in casual dating. You know, screw the commitment for a second. A lot of guys are just not sleeping with us to begin with. And this is partly due to the fact, guys, that modern women really do only select the top percentage of guy, at least in their eyes, for example, when they go on these dating applications. You think that the average woman gives a damn about the average man and his struggles and, you know, hooking up with him? No. If you guys actually look at these statistics, that a lot of these dating applications and things like this have actually shared publicly now, the top percentage of dudes are getting all of the action over there. It goes very exponentially in the favor of these men, by the way. Like, the higher in attractiveness you rank, you can be an attractive guy, but there is a very large difference between being an attractive guy and being, you know, top 0.5%, for example. That's when all of the attention that modern women give goes directly to you, right? It goes to the dudes who are at the very top. And so a lot of guys, they're excluded from the game. And even the guys who can participate in the game, they're like, what is the point of dating these modern women, man? They've been with like 35 different dudes. I'm expected to date them and take them seriously. This will never work out anyway. They have all of these sorts of different requirements that you fulfill, and it's just stupid. Even if you have no requirements that need to be fulfilled for her to hook up with you, the problem is that she also has no requirements for other men who she's also attracted to. It's like dudes have to do so much more for such a lower quality of women these days. That really is the truth. And that's why dudes travel. That's why they go to the middle of nowhere, or that's why they swear off dating altogether.
Of those young men have no interest in dating, not even casually. And 30% of those men, or 30% of young men, say they have not had sex in over a year and don't seem to care. So,
wow, what a surprise. They don't seem to care. You know what's funny about this situation as well? You can call this sad all you want. You can say that this is stupid. But here's the thing, guys. Modern women are quite literally losing to pixels. Dudes would rather than interact with a real woman, what a lot of guys would rather do is just either look at women on the internet or just play video games or do something else. Like, modern women have essentially, guys, they've sunk so low in a lot of these places, particularly the Western metropolitan areas, places like New York City. The women over there are a very special kind indeed, for example. But a lot of these women, they're actually just losing to the fact that dudes would rather either look at women online because they don't have to deal with real life ones, you know, or they would rather just play video games and do other things. You know, maybe you can attribute a small amount of that to sports betting, but I mean, sports betting, I don't really know how much time that can take up. I really think a lot of it does come down to that men are just not interested. And so dudes will, as a result of not being interested, just go and do other things. You know, I saw a comment, guys, on a video yesterday about some dude. I forget your name. Apologies, my friend. He was talking about how he planted 40 fruit trees. And, you know, that's giving him more fulfillment, it seems, than dealing with these modern women. And I thought to myself, that seems pretty accurate. It really does. Crazy, man. Crazy stuff. Let's keep going.
Of young men say they have not had sex in over a year and don't seem to care. So the point being,
they're getting pleasure out of sports betting instead.
Sports betting now through technology is as easy as buying something, ordering a pizza online, or shopping online. And what you see is young men who've grown up with gaming are used to doing everything on their phone, and now they can do all sorts of betting on their phone.
Okay, so what has this got to do with men not wanting to date you? You know, like, here's the thing. Step one, men have realized that you're not worth dating. And then step two, they go out there and they just fill their time with other things. But what modern women see is they see, oh, the men are doing something else, therefore it's this thing that's causing it. You know, he'd rather go golfing, or he'd rather engage in X hobby. Then obviously the hobby is the problem. The man's lazy and he needs to grow up. You know, even the dudes who are a bit, so this is particularly directed towards young men, but I would say probably a lot of older guys are more dumb than the younger guys, because they've been around for longer and they have witnessed this deterioration. I think a lot of modern women, they have been the same the whole time. But society has just got a lot more accepting, and we've had introductions of things like dating applications and things like this, to the point where you know, things have just eroded over time, specifically between men and women, and the quality of women out there for men today. Now, don't get me wrong, dudes have their fair share of problems as well. I think a lot of guys don't respect themselves enough. I think a lot of guys are going out here and dealing with women that frankly are a complete headache and a waste of their time. I think dudes could learn some self-respect. You know, we as dudes, we're not perfect either. But let me just say this, there's very little incentive for dudes to date modern women. That's really what it boils down to. You can slice it any way you want. You can blame it on, you know, a million different other things, but that's really the truth of the matter, to be honest with you. And guys, it amazes me the types of people that they put on these shows, and this is why people lose respect for modern day media, because I see this stuff. I don't really get political on this channel, but I see the same kind of nonsense when it comes to politics. You have these hosts who are just spouting absolute nonsense, saying things that are unrelated, trying to correlate things, make up stories, when truthfully they have no idea what the hell's going on. It's the same thing with men and women and dating. Like, these people are so out of touch, and this is why I think in part a lot of people, particularly young men as well, lose faith in these institutions, man. Because you follow what these people say, you listen to them, you do everything by the book, and you just get completely screwed over.
Is as easy as buying something, ordering a pizza online, or shopping online. And what you see is young men who've grown up with gaming are used to doing everything on their phone, and now they can do all sorts of betting on their phone. You can do real-time parlays on their phone during a game, and it's been explosive. So if you look at the growth in, and so DraftKings says that they've doubled revenue every year.
Just by the way, guys, look at this guy in the middle. He's like focusing so intently, but you can tell his brain, what he's thinking to himself is, how the hell did she get on this show? Like, what is she even talking about? I've noticed, I've actually seen this with other shows like The View. There'll be like some dude who's a guest or whatever, and they will be around. There'll sometimes be a dude in these situations, right? And the women will be talking so much crap, but the guy knows if he just disagrees, then he'll lose his job. So he just has to sit there and he's just like nodding like, yep, seems reasonable. Even though in his head he's thinking, this is the stupidest stuff that I have heard today. Now, the reason why I say today, guys, is because these individuals say stupid things all of the time. So he probably hears stupid things a lot more frequently than this. But you see my point, man. This guy is probably like, what in the hell is going on? He probably gets home from work at the end of the day and he's like, whew, you know, survived another one with these lunatics.
On their phone during a game. So DraftKings says that they've doubled revenue every year, expected to double revenue over the next 3 years, but that's just on the existing states. So the most populous states don't have legalized online sports betting or sports betting, and that's California and Texas. So if those come online, you've got double, triple the type of revenue adjusted EBITDA. So, but what this means for housing then is you have the lowest household formation growth rate in over 60 years. It could be longer, but that's as long as the data has been comprised. And so you have young men who don't want to date and young women who are spending their time really with Instagram moments, going to the Taylor Swift concert. I don't know if you've been to them. It's all filmed about yourself at the Taylor Swift concert. So
this woman is all over the place, man. She is worse than me when I record a video and I'm just way too tired to be doing it and I've had too much caffeine. You know what I mean? Like just all over the place. This woman is so much. Sometimes, guys, I record a video and I'm like, man, that was shocking. You know, I was a little bit all over the place. Maybe I should have just been a little bit more well rested or recorded at a different time. But it's like, these people are news hosts, guys. You know what I'm saying? Craziness. And she's all over the shop here. What even the hell were we talking about at the end here? Dudes. Oh yeah, so now we're on to women being on Instagram at Taylor Swift concerts. I mean, sure. Okay, if the point that this woman is trying to make here is that women are all over Instagram and trying to create highlights out of their life, I would say that this is pretty damn accurate. But the way we got here was just so strange, guys. Like, what are they feeding these news hosts? Like, what is actually going on? Are these humans? I don't know.
To them, it's all filmed about yourself at the Taylor Swift concert. So
So they're not getting married and building
They're not
homes.
getting married.
Right. So men are not getting married. We're not building homes, guys. And apparently it's because of sports betting. I mean, again, like I said in the intro, man, absolutely anything to avoid taking any sort of accountability. Now, we have a video next here, which is a lot more chill than what we normally cover. I think this is actually a good segue because I don't really want to listen to a clip where a woman's being completely insufferable. So we have a clip from this woman here, which we're now going to segue in, which is the simplicity of being a man. Now, I said this on a recent video, guys, but so many women just don't seem to understand that what men are looking for in general out of women and out of their own lives really is just some peace. You know, dudes go out there, they work hard, they try and make something of themselves, they go through a lot of stress, and then they come home and half the time their wives and girlfriends are just ready with like World War III. So I wanted to show you guys this clip. This is Simplicity of a Man. Let's jump into it. And guys, I forgot to mention in the intro, by the way, I think. If I didn't, well, hey, but don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments, guys. Interested to see what you have to say about these people who are just so out of touch. Let's jump in.
Women are jealous of men, and women are jealous of the simplicity of a man. Women will openly acknowledge that when they met their significant other, he lived with an Xbox, a TV, and a sofa, and he was happy and content. But they fail to realize how much they upgraded the lives of their wives by the bigger car, the bigger house, and it's almost like these women have a sense of entitlement because if it were up to the men, they'd keep that same sofa, that same TV, and keep a simple life.
I totally agree with that, man. I think a lot of guys, they can be happy with a lot less, particularly than modern women. You take the average modern woman, guys, and you ask her about the things that she requires out of a man, especially a man she's going to marry, as if that's some sort of gift. And those requirements will be so damn stupid. He needs to make 6 figures. He needs to be this. He needs to do that. And dudes are out here like, what in the hell is going on with modern women, man? I've got my Xbox and I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? Craziness.
Bigger car, the bigger house, and it's almost like these women have a sense of entitlement because if it were up to the men, they'd keep that same sofa, that same TV, and keep a simple life, which is why it's fucked up. So women can openly acknowledge that it came from nothing, but they very rarely appreciate everything that they have. These women will actually get frustrated at how simple their husbands are because they just don't understand it. Men can rotate the same 3 t-shirts for 3 months in a row and not give a shit. They can wear the same pair of jeans every other day and not give a shit. Men have lifelong friendships without any drama because they don't give a shit.
This is actually something else I've seen as well, man. And again, this just comes from a lot of modern women. They think that their logic applies to guys. You know, that men should be interested in the same things. They should be attracted to the same things. They feel the same things, or, you know, men feel nothing is also an option. But a lot of the times modern women just don't understand, guys. I've actually seen this very same point that this woman is making right here be very true, particularly with friendships, is modern women will have all of these friends. You know, they'll have like 3,000 friends on Facebook, as if anybody uses Facebook anymore. You know, they'll have 3,000 friends on Facebook. They'll have hundreds, if not thousands of followers over on Instagram. But like, you know, a lot of the girls would just backstab each other first chance they get to try and steal each other's man. It's completely ridiculous. I think a lot of modern women, they think that they have a lot of friends. They like to say that they have a lot of friends, but oftentimes these women have no friends at all. Meanwhile, dudes are out here rocking around with friends that they've had since high school, and they're in like their 40s. You know what I'm saying? I totally agree with this. Dudes are just not really about the drama, not really about the headaches. And the thing about men is if a man doesn't like you, you will probably know. But if a woman doesn't like you, she'll be nice to your face, she'll talk behind your back and all of this stuff. Guys, like, go and ask modern women, by the way. They will literally tell you this stuff. This is not me saying it. Oftentimes, women's friends are so mean to each other, guys, and like, they'll just act so nice to each other's faces. It's so crazy.
And not give a shit. Men have lifelong friendships without any drama because they don't give a shit. Women, on the other hand, are constantly comparing themselves to other women, and they oftentimes put their happiness in the hands of their husbands or their spouses. And when their husbands fall short, now he's a piece of shit. But
I mean, not only, by the way, So just a point on this, and this really goes back into the sports betting thing that we played at the start of this video, man, is not only do women and wives or whatever put their happiness in the hands of their husbands, it's actually a lot worse than this. Usually what a lot of modern women do is they actually require the dude to make them happy. You see what I'm saying? Like, it is the man's responsibility to ensure that she's happy all of the damn time. Which, by the way, we as dudes, we understand that emotions can fluctuate, right? But, you know, a lot of these girls, they'll feel one day on a Wednesday, but it'll tick over to Thursday, and for no reason, she feels a completely different way. And dudes are expected to manage the happiness of women and their significant others. You know, like, my view of this, guys, is why the hell are you getting into relationships with people, with men, and then expecting them to manage your emotions? This is not the dude's responsibility. See, this is the kind of crap that makes men not want to date, by the way, is why the hell would you go out there and get a girlfriend or get a wife where every single day you have to meet these expectations of certain things in order to make her happy? And then if you don't meet those miscellaneous requirements that change based on the day or how she's feeling, then she's going to start looking for another dude. You know what dudes do when they learn about this crap and they think that they have to deal with this? They'll just avoid the women who do this. They'll just completely avoid them. They'll straight up stop having intimacy, stop trying, go to different countries, and so on. I think it's actually a lot more insidious, man. I think that these women are actively putting their happiness in the dudes, like requiring the men to make them happy, which is so stupid to me.
Constantly comparing themselves to other women, and they oftentimes put their happiness in the hands of their husbands or their spouses, and when their husbands fall short, now he's a piece of shit. But the reality is that comparison is the thief of joy, and because these women are so unfulfilled and they're looking to their husbands to fulfill every single need, they can't understand why the men in their lives don't need more. And you just can't convince me that women aren't jealous of the fact that men are happy with the bare minimum, because women are constantly chasing this idea of happiness based on other people, and men just don't do that. Okay, bye.
Yeah, and you know why, by the way? Here's a big part of the reason why men don't do this. Number one, because it's stupid, and why you would rely on somebody else to fulfill your emotions is crazy to me. Number two, you shouldn't be feeling happiness all of the time. That would probably constitute some sort of mental condition like being manic. And number three, for dudes in particular, this is actually not an option. So a lot of women, they think that it's men's responsibility to make them happy simply because men exist, and that sometimes dudes will, you know, they'll have simps out there who will actively try and make them happy all of the damn time. And so women can actually go out there and think that this is plausible, when in reality it really isn't. Dudes have no option like this. Like, they can't even pretend like modern women are going to make them happy. A lot of modern women are just going to straight up make the dudes miserable. You think when a dude goes through a really hard time that modern women give a damn about making him happy? Of course not, man. Of course they don't. Let's continue into this next clip here, guys. We have a clip from a dating coach of a woman who's going to tell women about dudes liking spicy photos from other women over on social media. So let's jump in. Let's see how delusional this is, or let's see if she's actually talking some sense. Let's take a listen.
Whenever a woman tells me that her boyfriend was liking half-naked photos of women on Instagram, bikini photos, lingerie photos, half-naked revealing photos on social media of other women, and then she says, but I told him to stop, I told him it hurt me, and now he doesn't do it anymore, I always have a knee-jerk reaction, because here's the thing. There are two things that are really going to bother you eventually. One, why did you have to tell him to stop in order for him to get a hold on that habit? And number two, you're always going to be wondering if he's doing that in some other area of his life, or if he's going to start doing it again.
Okay, so here's the thing. I actually agree with this woman. I don't think that dudes should be out here liking spicy photos from women on the internet. Mainly because I don't think it's a very self-respecting thing to do. These women don't give a damn about you. They just use you for validation and attention, and it's a complete waste of your time. I think it is lacking self-respect to be liking these spicy photos of women over on the internet. That's my personal opinion on the matter. So I can, and also I do think it's insulting. You've got like a wife or something like this, or a serious girlfriend or whatever, and you're liking half unclothed women on the internet. I think that's a bit stupid. I think it's a bit disrespectful as well, me personally. But here's the thing: when are we going to have the discussion about wives and girlfriends who are posting this kind of content? You know, because I always notice we do say to men, hey, listen, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Can we for once address the women who, by the way, are oftentimes actively in relationships posting these photos? Because every time a man brings this up, apparently he doesn't like women, apparently he can't get laid, and so on and so forth. And all of the insults start coming out when you say, hey, maybe women shouldn't be disrespecting themselves like this and posting half unclothed photos of themselves on the internet for quite literally random men to see. Which, by the way, the real kicker of this situation, the real thing that makes it quite funny to me, is when the women who do this, number one, make videos like this one. I'm sure if we went to this woman's Instagram, we could probably find some spicy photos. Not that I care to do that because I don't want to gouge my own eyes out. You know, we don't ever have these sorts of discussions the other way around. Let's keep going.
If he's doing that in some other area of his life, or if he's going to start doing it again. Because the core issue here is that you had to tell him to respect you and not like half-naked photos of other women. You shouldn't have had to tell him that. And honestly, if you end up in a marriage with that guy, you're always going to be wondering, okay, what else is he doing that he has to be told not to do that could hurt me?
Oh yeah, I just remembered what else I was going to talk about, by the way, is the women who are oftentimes posting these photos. They struggle to get relationships from the men that they want. And then they always come out with videos or questions asking, you know, why is it that men don't want to date me? And the problem is, if you ever tell these women the truth, they lose their mind over it. Because newsflash to modern women, men don't want to date women who post this kind of crap on the internet. You know, and they always claim it's for themselves and that men are just being insecure and you should have to deal with this. But at the end of the day, men are just really not interested in dealing with this. I think that's really reflected in the statistics and the fact that a lot of guys are really not interested in dating these women. But guys, we are going to be leaving today's video there. I can't tolerate any more nonsense. I think I am just about done. So as always, don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. Make sure you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace.